What's up, YouTube? It's your boy One Arm. Today we're bringing you Week 11 NFL Power Rankings. Hell yeah! I hope you guys like the new overlay. We're trying something out new today. So yeah, let's get right into it. Up first, we are going to have the Jets. Of course, we have the Jets here. Truthfully, I think they're just tanking for the first pick now. Whether or not they're going to take Lawrence, I don't know. I personally think maybe the Jets should trade out of the first overall pick if they get it, and get a bunch of other draft picks. Because I mean, truthfully, Sam Darnold, you could probably go another year with Sam Darnold, you know. And so yeah, we have the Jets at 32. Up next, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know. I kind of like Leighton over Garner. Or Lutton over Gardner. I think he's a breath of fresh air, and I think he's what that team might be going towards. But I don't know. They definitely need some help on that defensive side of the ball. Of course, we all know they got rid of everybody and anyone. So we'll see what they do with the rest of this year and going into the draft. Up next, we got my Dallas Cowboys. The team really went to crap after Dak got hurt, and it really shows that they don't have true leadership on that field. It really actually shows that Dak was the true leader, even over Mike McCarthy and all that stuff. And I think Dak is going to be there next year. I really hope Jerry, does what needs to be done. And yeah, Dallas Cowboys 30th. Up next, we have the Washington Football Team at 29. They're definitely in need of a quarterback. I could see them maybe one of the teams that go and trade up to try and get Lawrence, even though I think Justin Fields is making a bit more of a splash. I know Lawrence has been injured, but it's going to be interesting to see what teams make moves and what quarterbacks get drafted first. But we have Washington at 29. They're definitely in need of a quarterback. They're definitely in need of a few other things as well. That defense is pretty sure up, so I think it's time for them to start looking at the offensive side of the ball, and I think they do that at the end of this year. Up next, we have the Bengals. We have the Cincinnati Bengals. Even I love Joe Burrow, but that defense is just so bad. The defense is not very good, and when they play good teams, it really shows. They have a hard time keeping teams from scoring, so they definitely need to address the defensive side of the ball. And I have the Bengals at 28, and yeah, they definitely need help. They need help on that defensive side. Up next at 27, we have the Texans. Man. So the Texans, they need help all over the board. They need to get better at running back. Johnson's just not the case. Offensive line is terrible. The receivers are that good either. Defense is pretty bad. JJ Watt is getting a little long in the tooth, so they're gonna have to start thinking about replacing him soon. And yeah, I have the Texans at 27, and yeah, they need a lot of work. I mean, poor Watson out there, man. Signed that big contract, and he's struggling right now. At 26, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. God, I'm never gonna get used to saying that. The LA Chargers. This team just can't find a way to win. I think that's their problem. Herbert is a superstar. He's gonna be a stud in this league, but they don't find a way to win. They don't find a way to keep the win. They don't find a way to keep the lead. I think they have like most blown games ever this season. I think it's like 4 or 5 where they were leading by 10 or more. But yeah, they got to figure out something, and they got to do it fast. I mean, pretty much the season's over for them, so they have to start looking on the next year. Maybe ruin some other teams' chances of making it to the playoffs. But other than that, we have the Chargers at 26. Up next, we have the Broncos. The Broncos were plagued by injuries this year. They lost a lot of big names. Sutton, guys on defense, linemen. I know Locke went down. I don't know if I'm sold on Drew Lock yet. I don't know. He hasn't shown me much. I know he hasn't had his team there or a lot of his guys there, but you can't keep going and throwing 3 interceptions every game, almost every game. But yeah, so at 25 we have the Denver Broncos. At 24 we have the Eagles. Now I had the Eagles. It's funny. I had the Eagles winning the NFC East. Sadly, the NFC East is such a bad division right now. But yeah, they just can't flat out win. It's pretty wild. That defense is really bad. They I mean, I watched the Sunday night game. Yeah. And it was crazy. Like, they allowed big play. Well, I mean, for the last couple of years they've allowed big play after big play, but it was wild watching that Sunday night game. But yeah, so we have the Eagles at 24 and we have the Giants at 23. We have the team that beat the Eagles, and I actually now think that the Giants will be the team that wins the NFC East. They still have to play us one more time. I think they have to play Washington once, and maybe the Eagles one more time. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but I really do think that the Giants are now the favorite in the NFC East, which is weird to say. And sadly, a team out of the NFC East could be going to the playoffs at 4-12. But yeah, so Giants at 23. We have the Panthers up next at 22. This team revolves around Christian McCaffrey, and when Christian McCaffrey is out, it's not the same team. We saw Teddy Bridgewater get injured last week, and so yeah, it might be time for them to start thinking about drafting a replacement quarterback. But I mean, I don't know. They definitely have to do something to help the team out. I mean, because they're not a bad team. I mean, shoot, we saw them go last week or against the Chiefs. They barely lost to the Chiefs by 2. So they could put points up on the board. They're relatively a good team. They just need that last piece, and they need McCaffrey to. That's what happens when you feed the man every play. I think there was a stat where he is literally in on 80% of the plays, and so he's starting to get banged up. So you guys got to start taking care of that man. All right. Up next, we have the Chicago Bears. I think the Nick Foles experience in Chicago is over. We could be seeing the return of Trubisky. Maybe this is what he needed. Hey, your job's not safe. You're not playing well. You need to step it up, right? So we have the Bears at 21, and we're gonna have the Detroit Lions at 20. This team's actually not bad either, and I'm super sad because I actually like Matt Stafford, and I think they wasted his talent there. Calvin Johnson's as well. So it really kind of breaks my heart that that they haven't gone to the big game yet. But it is what it is. They're gonna have issues this season, or they gotta sign Kenny Galladay. I don't know if that team can afford to let that man go. And then they just got to get better on defense, and they got to get better on the offensive side of the ball as well. They need maybe another receiver to help there. What they really need is these running backs that they have there to kind of step it up. But we'll see. But we have the Lions at 20. Up next, we have the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the Niners have lost so many players. I think they lost Kittle. Well, I know they lost Kittle because I have Kittle on my fantasy. But they lost Kittle. They lost Mossert. Who else? Bosa. They lost Bosa, which is a big blow to that team. So, yeah, at 19, I don't think they'll win another game for the rest of the season. But yeah, they started out so strong too, so it's kind of hard to see. It's kind of hard to see them fall so bad because they started out pretty strong. But yeah, we have the Niners at 19. The Falcons we're going to be placing at 18. I don't know. They're winning, but I think it's too late for them, and they definitely need to. They need a running back. They really do need a running back. They need help on that defensive side of the ball. They give up way too many big plays, and sometimes, I'm not even lying, sometimes I look and I just see guys not willing to tackle over there. But so, what can you do? I mean, it's kind of a weird year. But we have the Falcons at 18. Up next, we have the why can't I remember the name? Patriots. We saw the Patriots win against the Ravens. They beat the Ravens, and it was quite a game too. I've been knocking on Cam for the last couple weeks, and he pulled it out. Oh man, there's something in my eyeball. They're all blurry. Cam pulled this one out. I was, bashing on him last week, so Cam, I apologize. And yeah, do I think they'll make the playoffs? No, I think that ship is sailed for this year. But it was good seeing them get a win. Bad seeing them get a win against the Ravens, but whatever. So up next, we have the Minnesota Vikings. Now we have the Vikings at 16. Yeah, the Vikings starting to come around. If only they could have been playing like this at the beginning of the year, they'd be a shoo-in for the playoffs. But yeah, now they gotta go through Green Bay. I mean, if they keep playing like this, they could still possibly make the playoffs. Let me check their record. It's just so hard because so many teams are going to be. So yeah, we have the Vikings beat the Bears last night, and then so let's click the NFL standings. So we have the Vikings behind Chicago at 4-5, right? So they beat Chicago. Yeah, I think it's a little too late. There's 5 games left, 6 games left in the season. They could turn around if they win out and go 10-5. No, it would be 11-5, right? No. Yeah, 11-5. They could go 11-5, but they'd have to win out. Do I think they could do that? Who do they have left? They have Dallas, which they'll probably beat us. Carolina, Jacksonville, which is winnable. So that's 2 winning games. Carolina might be rough for them. Tampa Bay, I could see them beating Tampa Bay. They got to play Chicago again. New Orleans, I think will win that game, and then Detroit. What's funny is I think Detroit will give them a hard time too. So do I see them going 11-5? No. Can I see them winning 4 or 5 more games? Probably. Up next, we have the Browns. Now the Browns got Nick Chubb back, and it was a crazy game. It was wild. Like, I think it was at one point snowing slash raining. The weather just looked really terrible over there, and they barely beat Houston by 3 points. It was 10-7. It was a snooze fest. But both their running backs, they got Nick Chubb back. Kareem Hunt went off. They both went off for over 100 yards. So the Browns are kind of scary. Can I see them overtaking Baltimore for one of those playoff spots? Yes. Because looking at it right now, the AFC has some close teams, man. Like teams that are like one game back from each other, you know. Let's see. 7-6, 7 wins, 6 wins, 9 wins. Oh, well, you know. 6, and then in here, so the AFC North, you have Pittsburgh at 9-0, Baltimore at 6-3, Cleveland at 6-3. Could they take one of those extra spots in the playoffs? Maybe. Could this be a year that they make it to the playoffs? Possibly. But there are a lot of teams that are going to be vying for those positions, so it's going to be. This is crunch time for the Browns. Oh man, as much as this is going to pain me to do, I got to do it. At 14, we're going to put Tennessee at 14. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like they play really well, but all their games have been close, right? They're still 6-3, but all their games have been so close, and then they get blown out by Indy, right? And so they've lost to Cincinnati, they've lost to Pittsburgh, and they lost to Indy to make them 6-3. So that's just wild. And I truthfully, I think that team, I really do think Tennessee will miss out on the playoffs. I think they will end up needing a team to lose, and they won't. And so, yeah, Tennessee, I think Tennessee misses the playoffs. That's just me, but you know, we have Tennessee at 14. Up next at 13, we have the Seattle Seahawks. Oh man, I've been saying it all year. This team will win and lose on the back of Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson is literally the only player there. I mean, they have DK. I love DK, but they lost last week. They didn't have either of their starting corners, and they're going against probably one of the hardest defenses to play against this year in the Rams. I mean, the Rams got embarrassed by Tua the week before, I think. They lost to them, so they were coming out swinging. And it showed. You know, that offensive line for the Seahawks definitely was in trouble. They have a hard time blocking. Poor Russell needs to scramble a lot. And with Donald coming through there, yeah, it was going to be a nightmare. And it showed. It showed really bad. And the team, Seattle, I still think Seattle could make the playoffs. I still think they will make the playoffs. But they have to start getting guys healthy. They cannot have both starting corners go down. I think they were playing with I know they drafted Dallas this year, so I think they were playing with two basic third and fourth string running backs, because Carson and I think Hyde is their other back. I don't remember. We're both out, so they need to start getting guys healthy, or it's not going to turn out very well for the Seattle Seahawks. Up next at 12, we have the Los Angeles Rams, who we just talked about earlier against the Seahawks. They beat the Seahawks. the Rams are interesting because they have so much talent on that defensive side of the ball, but yet they still allow a lot of points, right? And that's because the offense, I think, sometimes struggles to score points. So yeah, I like their running back situation. It's not bad. Receivers, I think they could draft. They need to maybe draft a big play receiver. I know they have Jefferson there, but I don't know if I've seen much of him. But so I think, yeah, at 12, at 12, I think the Rams are fine right there. Up next, we have the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts beat. I just talked about them. I can't remember. Tennessee. Phillip Rivers. He's starting to manage the game a little bit better. That running back setup that they have there is kind of helping out a bit. We saw my boy Michael Pittman Jr. catch one of his longest career or his longest reception of the year. I think it was like 40 something yards. And then you know, so they ended up winning, and yeah, we have them at 11. Could they make the playoffs? Maybe. Do I want them to make the playoffs? Maybe. I mean, they're leading the division right now in the AFC South. So if they keep playing the way they're playing right now, they will definitely make the playoffs, and I think they will be a hard team to play against. That defense is just only getting better. They're starting to get guys coming back. So yeah, the Colts at 11. Up next, we have the Raiders at 10. So we're cracking the top 10 right now. We have the Raiders at 10. I think the Raiders are 6-3. Let me check. Yeah, the Raiders are 6-3. They could possibly make it to the playoffs. Like I said though, it's so hard to see what teams are gonna make it because the division's so close. Like there's so many teams that are 6-3 right now. Like half of the AFC is 6-3. You know. So yeah, we have the Raiders at 6-3. They beat Denver last week, and they played Kansas City again this week. Can they beat Kansas City a second time? I don't know. Patrick Mahomes is playing lights out. They are like, whew. Patrick Mahomes is definitely playing at the top of his game. They're fourth in passing right now. But can the Raiders be upset 2.0? I think they can. They have probably one of the best pass rushes in the game. I love Crosby. Dude's a monster coming off the edge. So that's going to be probably my game of the week will be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Vegas Raiders. That'll be my game of the week. That'll be the one I watch. And then, so yeah, we have the Raiders at 10. Up next, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 9. It's so crazy, man. It's it's like night and day over there in Tampa. It's like one week they don't want to play, and the next week they're blowing people out, you know? And it's just so wild. I think Tom Brady had what, 3 touchdowns against Carolina. Like I said, Carolina a little beat up, but you know, the week before Tom Brady was throwing cross shoulder back fade behind the neck passes to receivers, and they were getting picked off. But so yeah, we have the Bucks at 9. I think they need help to make it to the playoffs. Yeah. So yeah, we're just gonna say with the Bucks at 9. All right, now we're in the good stuff, the interesting stuff, right? I'm gonna lean forward for this one. At 8, we have my boy. He's 3-0 right now, and he's leading the helm over there in Florida. Plays for the the Fins, the Dolphins. And Tua's 3-0. I was a little worried because I didn't want to hype up this team before I actually got to see him a bit. They're still keeping Tua kind of like close to the vest. They haven't really unleashed the dog of war yet because that defense is just beasting it. I mean, that defense has just, man, I remember dang it. I remember at the beginning of the season, I was like, damn, they went and paid all this money for defense. Dang it, something caught my throat. All this money for defense, and you know, this is how the defense is played. Man, that defense and special teams right now is probably the best in the game. I'm not even lying. The two together, not defense, but defense and special teams is probably the best in the league right now. I think they have back-to-back punt block to touchdowns. It's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, we have Tua and the Dolphins at 8. Oof. Up next. I'm really worried about this team. I really am. I think Lamar is relying too much on his legs. He is making it very difficult for himself to succeed, right? They're 30th in passing yards, right? They're second in rushing. And I guarantee you, because Lamar Jackson is just going ham, right? Like Lamar Jackson has 1,700 passing yards, but he has 525 rushing yards, right? The next guy up, Gus Edwards at 370 and J.K. Dobbins at 310. That's not going to happen. That you cannot win games when your quarterback is rushing the most for you. He needs to start. The problem is that they can't find a happy medium between the passing and the rushing. They are going to fail, and it's starting to show because now teams are like, hey, if we can get Lamar kind of running, not passing or whatever. If they could control Lamar, they could control the Ravens. And so yeah. Lamar needs to like figure something out there because he cannot be running the ball all the time. So yeah, we have the Ravens at 7. Up next, we have the Buffalo Bills at 6. Man, the Bills intrigue me because they're 7-3 right now. They're ahead of Miami. But I think Miami has a good chance of catching them. The Bills, this is the remaining roster or season for the Bills. The Bills have the Chargers, the Niners, which are both winnable games. Pitt, I think they'll lose. Denver, they'll win. New England, I don't know. And then Miami. That last game against Miami, depending on how both teams play, that could be a huge game right there, right? That could be whether or not either of those teams make it to the playoffs. But we have the Bills at 7-3, and they're playing pretty good. Allen still has one of the strongest arms in the league. I don't even care what you say. They just got to learn to start winning these close games that they're losing, So yeah, Bills at 6. Now we're jumping into the top 5. So my top 5 is going to be kind of wild because we know what we know, right? We have 3 teams in the NFC West, all at 6-3, and I think the best team in that division is the Cardinals right now. I think the Cardinals, they're first in rushing. They're first in total yards per game, and they're 15th in passing, right? So I know the rushing is a lot of a mixture between Kyler Murray and Kenyon Drake, but it's they're also, um throwing the ball. I mean, Hopkins made an amazing catch in that game last week or this weekend. Kyler Murray has 2,375 yards passing. So, I mean, I think they're dangerous. I think they're dangerous, and I think their remaining schedule is they have Seattle. They're going to play Seattle this weekend, right? So they go and play Seattle. They win Seattle. I'm telling you right now, if they beat Seattle, they are winning this division because they already beat them once already. So if they beat Seattle, I think they can beat New England. I think they can beat the Rams. They could definitely beat the Giants, Philly, San Fran, and then they have the Rams still twice. I think the Rams will be the hardest game for them to play. They have to play them twice. Both teams are 6-3. So yeah, I think the Cardinals will be the team that makes it out of there and goes to the playoffs for them this week or this year. Up next, we have the New Orleans Saints. We saw Drew Brees get hurt. I don't know if Brees is not playing this week. I have to do a little bit more research on that. But he did definitely go down. And right now, the Saints are 7-2 and Tampa Bay is 7-3, right? Man, these Atlanta's 3-6, like. So yeah, we have the Saints at 7-2. They beat San Francisco. Thought they would put up more points against San Fran, but they did beat Tampa Bay the week before, 38-3. And they still have to play Atlanta, Denver, Atlanta, Philly, Kansas City, Minnesota, and Carolina. So they have probably some of the hardest teams to play against at the end of that run in Minnesota, Kansas City. I think they'll have a hard time playing against Atlanta as well. So we'll be keeping an eye on the Saints. I couldn't find anything about Drew Brees right now, but I will. Hopefully he plays this weekend. They need him. So yeah. Up next, we have the top three. Now, top three is kind of crazy. So for third, I have the Green Bay Packers. I really like the Packers. I know they had that one hiccup where they kind of just embarrassed themselves. They did barely beat Jacksonville by 20 or by 4 points. I think it was a trap game, They still have Indy, Chicago, Philly, Detroit, Carolina, Tennessee, and Chicago. So they have Chicago twice. That might be rough. Indy, I think, is going to be a hard game for them. And as well as Tennessee. I think Tennessee might give them a little bit of trouble. But other than that, I still see them making it to the playoffs. And yeah, so that was Green Bay. Now, mind you, remember Minnesota's in that division too, and I think they still have to play them once. Or did they play them twice? I think Minnesota took one of them. I don't know. I don't remember now. I don't remember. Let's see. Yeah, no, that's right. They beat Minnesota the first week and they lost to them week 7 they lost to Minnesota. So yeah, they have to beat Chicago twice. I think they could beat Chicago twice. They have to beat Tennessee and Indy. I think Indy's going to be the hardest game for them, and they play them this week. So That is the Packers at 3. Up next, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. Now I'm putting the Chiefs at 2 just because they're 8-1, and yeah, I think these next two teams will probably be the big dogs in the AFC, and I think they will play in the championship game. It's going to be kind of crazy to see. But we have the Chiefs at 2. Patrick Mahomes, of course, is Patrick Mahomes. That running back, the run game they have is really nice. Clyde Edwards is, pretty good. Passing, they're ranked, I think, 5th, 4th. But Kansas City plays. These are the teams Kansas City has left. The Raiders might be a hard game for them. Tampa Bay, I think they'll beat Tampa Bay. Denver, they're gonna destroy Denver. Sorry. Miami, I think they have a chance of beating I think it might be a tough game against Miami, but I think they'll beat Miami. New Orleans, I could see them beating New Orleans. Atlanta, they'll beat Atlanta, and the Chargers, they'll beat the Chargers. So yeah, they have a chance of going what? 12-2? No. 13-3, I think. 12-4. Nah, they won't go 12-4. They'll go 13-3. Maybe they'll lose one game, maybe 2 games against maybe the Raiders and Miami. So yeah, 13-3. I think they'll end it there. And so yeah, we have the Chiefs at 2. Last but not least, we have the only undefeated team left in the league right now, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got some good young receivers there. Roethlisberger's just enjoying himself, being able to just throw to all these different targets. The defense is actually pretty good. I think with the addition of Minkah Fitzpatrick last year, and he only got better learning the system. And yeah, I think the Steelers will be one of the 2 teams that I think will make it to the Super Bowl. And so, I mean, yeah, the Steelers are good. That defense is good. The receivers are really good. It's gonna be interesting to see if they can keep that undefeated streak alive. They still have let's see, who do they still have to play left? They have Jacksonville, Baltimore, Washington, Buffalo, Cincy, Indy, Cleveland. So I think they'll beat Jacksonville. Baltimore might be hard for them. Baltimore could get a loss to Baltimore. I could see them losing to Indy as well. So they could lose 3 of their last 7 games. 3 of the last 7 games, right? And so, yeah. That's going to be it for this. Hope you guys enjoyed this power ranking video. If you guys did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys didn't like this video, still leave a like. And yeah, y'all are wonderful. Y'all are amazing. Y'all be safe. And I hope you guys like the new layout. But that's going to be it for me. Y'all take it easy. I love y'all. Peace.